Gresham is a very typical industrial town centre with high volume terraced houses, mostly built before the First World War. But in recent years, there's some signs of it not being as popular as it might have been. And then the council announced a wholesale clearance programme, and the place has really been in decline since then.
The demolition started about 10 years ago. It looked like there was about 1,500 houses were to be demolished. And that was purely on the back of this Pathfinder scheme. And at that point, I think we decided that we were going to do something about this because it was a mess.
Once the Pathfinder project had finished and the demolition stopped, there was obviously an issue with empty properties in the area which were just standing, nothing to do. The council couldn't sell them, they couldn't really particularly do anything with them. In 2010, a series of public meetings were held, and from that a steering group was formed to look at the possibility of forming a community land trust.
We involved the community from the outset. We had a meeting when we decided that this might be the way for us to go, that view was sanctioned by a proportion of the community who came along to the meeting.
CLT Limited was formed legally as a company limited by guarantee in June 2011. The purpose of that was to bring back to use some of the empty properties which had been left standing by the cancellation of Pathfinder. After the company formed, we entered into a series of talks with Middlesbrough Council. These ended up in Middlesbrough Council giving us 3 properties on asset transfer. This coincided with the initial funding from the Empty Homes Action Fund. And from that, we were able to acquire and renovate 5 properties from the council. 3 as an asset transfer, 2 on lease.
So this is one of the properties that we got from the Empty Homes Action Fund. When we first got it, the entire building was just a burnt out wreck. Hadn't been anybody living in it for probably about 6 or 7 years. New electrics, new central heating, new double glazing, brand new kitchen, bathroom. There's 2 bedrooms upstairs as well.
When we first set up the CLT, one of our aspirations really, I think more than aim, was to try and return some kind of sense of community by renovating empty properties and bringing them back into use. We thought if people could see that something was being fixed and not just being torn down, it might make a little bit of a difference.
Endeavour Housing is quite a socially aware housing group. We've gone to them and we've partners with them.
From the very start it kind of worked because they're a community-led group, a small-scale, local group, and as a housing association we're relatively small scale in the scheme of things and always had a very local approach. So we're interested in local projects, local programmes in the neighbourhoods that we work in that we can support and work with. So it was a really good fit from the beginning.
We'll have 9 tenancies by the end of this financial year. We've got some revenue that can underpin the other work we want to do, and we've got a good foundation that we can take forward and expand the work of the CLT so it has more impact in the town.
There are a lot of problems to face in Gresham, but there are also a lot of people in Gresham who continue to live their lives day to day and do as best they can, but also there are groups out there who try and find solutions to those problems, and the CLT is one of them.
There are a lot of people around who'll give you advice, and there are a lot of people around who'll tell you it can't be done. But if you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve and you work hard at finding out the ways you can achieve it, you will get somewhere. Derelict properties are a classic case in point. You can bring them back into use, they can be a viable asset, they can be a home for people again.